There is no denying that Mortal Kombat 9 did amazing things to revive the MK franchise in 2011, not just from a casual standpoint of story, modes and gameplay, but in the competitive space mechanically. There were competitive foundations in place from the online 3D community from Deception, Armageddon and MK vs DC, the old school community playing Ultimate MK3 and MK2, but if we're talking the worldwide space, MK9 was where tournaments began for many of us. If you go back and look at any old tournament footage, it's always the traditional 1 vs 1. However, the game did have a fully playable 2v2 mode that you could play at any time. A lot of you, if you grew up with this game, will probably remember 2v2, and you might even ask the eternal question of, why was this never played competitively? I don't remember seeing many tournaments for it. Well, as somebody who's been in the competitive MK space since that time and competed as often as possible in Mortal Kombat 9's prime days, allow me to take you on a little journey that explains exactly why 2 vs 2 was never truly played in a regular competitive space worldwide, from logistics to mechanics to the more unusual little details. However, if you revisit tag mode today in 2020, there is an insanely fun and completely different experience with new mechanics, potential for real character variety, and some of the filthiest setups you've ever seen. I'm not going to tell you what the tag meta is, more so giving some ideas and potentials for how you could approach it as an MK9 player. This is Mortal Kombat 9's tag mode in its entirety. So let's get the basics out of the way first. If you're new to tag or have never seen it before, this is how the game mode works. Pick 2 characters instead of 1, as you'd expect really, and fight 2 characters one at a time. Take out 1 character and they're out of the round, leaving the second character alive on their own. You can tag at any moment using the tag button, which is commonly L1 or LB, so you're not tied to a certain order. You can use tag in attacks, and here are the different ways that you can do that. Tag combos are combo strings that will end in the tag button. Every character has a set amount of them, and all it is really is a character's normal or string ender standalone that they come into the fight with. Some of these hit by themselves are knocked down, some of them might be a pop-up, and some are special cancelable. This is absolutely a character by character situation. Fast tag is more commonly used. Characters that have launchers of any kind can again press the tag button as an extender and swap in with another character as soon as possible. You do need to go into the move list to see exactly which launchers can fast tag though, because it's definitely not all of them. This results in different combo possibilities. Importantly, fast tag can also work on block for certain attacks, which changes some characters considerably, but I'll get into that a bit later. Finally, tag attack is done with down forward or forward forward tag and involves changing character with an attack on the way in. This can be done on its own or special cancelled into, and it will cost 1 bar of super meter. Tag assist will keep your existing character and do your partner's assist attack. This again costs a bar of super, and the assist itself changes a lot depending on character, but it is just the one move. You can't choose which special the partner uses. You can special cancel into it or use it standalone, just like tag attack. So pretty much that is the extreme basic of the things that you can do in tag. Now, there's a major side to it that people probably remember the most fondly, and I can't really do a fair video on tag mode without mentioning it, so here it is. Tag mode could be played with 4 players, with each player using a character each. This would provide much more of a co-op experience if you're doing a 2-player tag ladder, but at a higher level. This was just a really fun opportunity to have some casual sets with more than one person, having a laugh with this 4-player tag experience, but a lot of people in both tournament and any exhibitions that might have happened at the time didn't really play tag as its own mode. Players were much more likely to simply take it in turns with each other, never really tag out or do any of the assists and stuff like that. You just go life bar for life bar and get a longer game out of it. I think a big knock-on effect for why this was the case was because people didn't really care to explore the mode too much. It was seen by many as just MK9 with more people involved. Mustard and myself were definitely guilty of never really learning it properly, and we too would just take it in turns with Sector and Cyrax. We'd have Sector's neutral and Cyrax's damage. That's a good combo right there. Being able to co-op MK9 against either AI or online play was absolutely fantastic, because it meant that you could play MK9 with friends of yours that aren't really competitive but still want to play games with you. A lot of players will recall memories of teaching their friends or partners or whatever one or two really good moves to use with a character, and then you just take over when they go down. You often will still get the win, and everyone on the team feels great and had a good time all round. That was definitely my memories of tag back in the day, because I do the exact same thing, right? Play it with friends and accomplish the wins together. 2 versus 2 ranked had its own matchmaking, so you could find games back then pretty easily, although definitely the netcode didn't help matters. Now, I feel it's worth discussing the mode as a lot of the competitive community remembers it, what tag was all about during the game's competitive years in 2011 and 2012, and why it wasn't really ever played at an offline competitive level consistently. There's quite a few points here, so I'll try and keep it from being too long, but there is a fair bit to go over. This will be separate to the more regular local communities though, mostly in America, that would have fun and 2v2 at their local sessions, with the occasional tournament, of which a lot of that footage unfortunately seems to be lost, as it was just short of 10 years ago at this point. Sorry about that. If we're talking the prime days of MK9, when it was at its absolute most competitive, it was that initial period of 2011 and 2012, with a bit of 2013 in there too, when some players juggled both Injustice 1 and MK9 together that year. We all knew tag was in the game, right? It's not like we didn't know about it, but we just didn't really touch it for the most part for a number of reasons, and allow me to just list them for you. First, and I think the most commonly agreed one at this stage, the fact of the matter is, all of us were getting really involved in the hardcore competitive experience that MK9 offered, and for a lot of players, myself included, 1v1 was the tournament standard, and look, we were all grinding, super hungry to get better. There really wasn't much point playing the other modes if you're not getting the proper competitive practice. I definitely compare that to modern Mortal Kombat 11 players not really touching custom variations while tournament variations are the standard. It's pretty much the same thing here. A lot of players would set up King of the Hills for big group practice sessions in MK9. I know the UK scene used to do that regularly. Tag wasn't supported in King of the Hill, which meant that you just couldn't do it. Although, in hindsight, this might have been for the best, as King of the Hills would add notorious amounts of lag. It's just that MK9's netcode was so delayed anyway that I guess most of us didn't really care at the time. Now, when we're talking tournaments and offline sessions for local tag, which would have been the setting that any tournaments would have been set in, there was a pretty significant problem here. The wireless age of current tournaments and devices wasn't anywhere near as prominent, and players absolutely preferred wired pads. The competitive standard for a lot of tournaments I went to were on the 360, but some places used PS3, but they shared similar problems. Fight stick users were definitely more common in MK9 across both America and EU, which would also require USB support. The reason I bring this up is because if anyone has ever owned a 360, you'll already know that the system only has 3 sockets, 2 on the front and 1 in the back. Let's think about this for a second. Let's say we have 4 players at a setup. 2 of them play on pad and 2 of them play on stick, and they want to play some local MK9 tag, but nobody in the group has a wireless option. I mean, you just can't do it. It doesn't work. Without some kind of USB splitter, which, to be fair, you definitely could use, and it has been used in the past, you can't just rock up to a setup at a tournament and play tag if all 4 players have only wired controllers, which was very common in a community that kept things as wired as possible. You needed more preparation than that, and anyone that's ever been to a tournament knows just how on the spot a lot of casual sessions tend to be. Finally, and this one's really important for competitive play, tag is hilariously broken, which brings me to my next portion of this video. Of all of the modern NetherRealm titles, MK9 has always been the most competitively broken. If you want to know more about that, I do have an entire episode of the MK Meta 4.9 that you can go and check out. Tag mode takes the broken side of MK9 and it amplifies it even further. I'm going to show you some examples from famous combo artists back in the day, as these combo artists such as Check, Tyler Lantern, Tony T and V-Man were absolutely the main source of tag footage back in 2011 and 2012. Check this out. So, as you can clearly see, tag mode is indeed broken to the next level if you pair the right characters in the right situations. This mode being as broken as it was something that made quite a few people not really take it seriously. We had enough troubles in 1v1 with Cabal, Kenshi, Cyrax, and Sonya, etc. I know I certainly didn't fancy the exact same issues, but with more unblockables or guaranteed resets or whatever. However, in 2020, and I must say a pure curiosity that came over me, I decided to finally revisit this mode and think, if I looked at this mode with more of a competitive eye, and I wanted to play it as its own thing, how would it turn out? Tag mode really is an entirely separate experience that is not the MK9 that we all know. A bunch of characters become a lot more dangerous, creativity runs rampant, and we end up with an incredibly fun game mode that takes the wacky side of MK9 and it really makes it the core focus. Allow me to run you through a bunch of stuff that makes tag a completely different experience altogether. Just don't take it too seriously. First of all, let's look at some tag combo enders for certain characters, going over the utility that they bring when they're paired with somebody else. Some tag combos aren't that great. They're just a single hit that ends the combo, right? There's nothing particularly exciting about them. But some characters come in with a button that can be special cancelled, like tagging into Sindel, who can cancel off this button here, or Smoke, who comes in with his forward 4. An example of craziness is that Rain gets an easy 1-bar 80% combo if he hits 4-3 in the corner with Sindel. After Scream, he has enough time to tag in, get an enhanced H2O boost, and then do the rest of the combo, as you can see here. Characters that can launch the opponent high enough can set up Smoke's unblockable reset loops. Rain is another great example of this, but I found that Nightwolf can do the exact same thing, not just from his Tomahawk launcher, but his unblockable lightning launcher. 2 bars, yeah, but that's just hilarious to me, honestly. Other important tag combo enders are characters that have a launch attached to it. There's quite a few character-specific layers to this one, but Noob Saibot struggles to get any combo rewards on top of really slow buttons. It's what makes him so weak in the 1 vs 1 tier list. Look at his meterless B and B off 2-1. Awful, really. But pair him with somebody like Kenshi, who has both a launching tag combo and can fast tag off a good launcher, and the meterless damage is much better for Noob Saibot. Spend a bar on Kenshi's assist, which launches, and the damage is more than solid. On the subject of fast tags, characters benefit greatly from the fast tag option. Again, it requires a lot of experimentation, but if you already know the combos with certain characters, fast tag lets you kind of merge them together. Fast tag tends to be from launchers, but you can find out which ones exist in the move list. It's not just strings either. Some launching specials will fast tag too, like a Jax ground pound or Sector teleport. Fast tags can come out on block though, which is a really big deal for certain characters. A character that really comes out better in tag is Scorpion, thanks to fast tag. Scorpion is a character in 1v1 that has to take immense risks and put his own life on the line for the back 2 and forward 4 mix-up. But in 1v1, the back 2 is non-cancelable. In 2v2, it's a fast tag, which means you can cancel off it. Just like that, Scorpion's overhead is not the same risk that it used to be. In fact, Nightwolf and Scorpion can actually do some really neat stuff together because of Nightwolf's launching Tomahawk being a fast tag as well. You can combine them. His forward 3 recaptures them after a second spear for this disgusting reset death combo. In my time with experimenting with different characters, one thing that is absolutely possible is the idea of completing a character, or at least being as close to complete as you possibly can. Characters have major flaws in some cases, and the tag partner that you pair them with can sometimes address those major problems, and almost instantly with the right synergy. In some cases, it will just give characters more tools. Again, it's easier to show some examples. Sector and Rain are my 2 favourite characters in the game, but they actually complement each other extremely well. If you rock Sector first, which I definitely do, Rain gives you more meterless combo damage off 1-2 back 1. Although your 1 bar damage with Sector standalone is better off on standard confirms, his leg lift mix-up can bag more damage with tidy execution and Rain's lightning assist. Additionally, lightning assist can be used on block to set up some tricky situations as well. This team is my favourite to play so far. A knock-on effect I'm sure many of you have thought about already is, but Ketchup, couldn't you take a top-tier character and make them even more broken with tag mechanics? The answer is yes. Yes, you can. Sonya and Kenshi is just ugh. Military stance into Super Plus and launching Kenshi assist is my idea of hell, I think. But that's the nature of tag. You take the top tiers and make them even more busted, but at least take the lower tiers and you can make them as busted as possible too. Like I said, it really takes the crazy side of the meta and it just ramps it right up. The thing is, I wanted to end this video on a more fun note. So, as tag is a lot more insane than 1v1, let me run you through some of the broke stuff that is really cool, in my opinion. Some of you might be disgusted. I haven't covered everything, there's loads to go over, but this is just a couple of examples. Enjoy. Quan Chi gives everyone in the game a rune trap if the opponent sits there and blocks. Not every string can actually do it, but the unblockable threat keeps the opponent on their toes. Sometimes the opponent can move or jump out, but you as the player, it's your responsibility to make that read and punish them if they try and do it. If we're talking rune trap in tag though, we're talking Scorpion's assist, which is the unblockable Hellfire. Better tracking, faster startup, loads of plus frames, and it drags people down if they try and jump. This assist is ridiculously broken, and although in some cases some characters can armor, they don't punish you for doing it, they just avoid the Hellfire. But a lot of the time, you can punish the armor anyway, so it's not really a victory for the defender, and if they have no bar, it's totally guaranteed. Noob Saibot's assist is the ghost ball that disables blocking and messes up the opponent's controls. It is very easy to combo into and is absolutely disgusting. Cancel a corner launch from a character into Jax and end in 1-2 slam. His corner infinite with enhanced ground pound can work from almost anything. Kenshi assist is incredibly plus on block and it launches. So, Noob Saibot can work with that for some nice combo confirms, but more importantly, a damaging way to actually set up his portal traps. If the opponent is blocking in the corner, back one seems to be quite the annoying tool to deal with. Yes, this jails. Shiva is an absolute bottom tier character in 1v1, there's no doubt about it. But the thing is, give her Kung Lao assist and she gets this off of her confirms and mix-ups. Why doesn't it scale, man? And now, thanks to my brother Mustard, I present to you the final piece of the broken MK9 tag puzzle, because I never learned Cyrax combos in 10 years and I can't do them. He joined me for a training session and he discovered the wonder of Cyrax and these characters. Yo, if that's guaranteed, that is the funniest thing. I'm holding up back. Look. Look. It's disgusting. So if they don't crouch block, they are just killing themselves for no reason. I'm gonna hold up. I'm just gonna hold up after this. Oh, come on.
Oh, I still get the net too. Oh my god. That's guaranteed on block. Any button. Any button.
Again. Try again.
It brings you back down.
I'm gonna try every direction. I'm trying every direction.
Where are you going?
Now, I can assume you can probably armor.
Alright.
Let's try super kick. Oh, thank God.
That means you've got to spend a bar every time you block anything, because if you don't, I'm spending a bar and getting this for free.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if I have no bar, there's no way out. And if you get first hit bonus, and you get both bars, and I spend even one bar, I'm dead. Other than up. Oh my god. And on a hit or block, it does nothing.
Yeah, you are dead. The second this connects after the restand, you are dead.
Yeah, most characters don't have good armor. And even then, the armor doesn't punish Cyrax. It just means he can't do the bomb. But he can then punish your armored move. So, who cares? Like, oh. And it's the fact that he can do it off every button is just like... Scorpion and tag, for that alone, surely Scorpion's like top tier in tag. Alternatively, Cyber Sub-Zero can do the same thing with Scorpion, but because his bombs don't really launch, you have to do other combo versions, and it's less damage, but that's Cyber Sub-Zero in a nutshell, isn't it? And that's tag mode in Mortal Kombat 9. There's an absolute ton more you can go over if you wanted to show off combos or tech, but as always, I want to give the basic idea with the hopes that some of you will revisit this mode, as I did, and start messing around with things yourself. I've had a blast revisiting it, and it's been great to see what tag has to offer if you only focused on 1v1 for the game's entire lifespan. If I was thinking about the meta of tag, I think a really cool idea is taking your favorite character, regardless of tier, and simply pairing them with the character that seems to fill as many of their problems as possible, or if you can find something totally busted, rinse that instead. I found myself playing a bunch of characters that I'd never normally play, that if I had tag, would probably be considered a bit better than they do in 1v1, which is very exciting to me. A fun experience that allowed us to co-op with our friends, have a laugh, and if we really wanted to showcase some of the most broken sequences I think I've seen in any fighting game, I have to give shoutouts to the tag combo artists from back in the day, because their old school combo videos and ladder runs can still be found on YouTube to this day, with some excellent performances all round. I've searched far and wide for competitive tag footage, as I do remember the occasional streamed tournament back in the early days. I recall tournaments with pairs such as Rio and Maxter rocking Cabal and Cyrax, but honestly, although players and local communities would sometimes play tag or have tag tournaments for fun, the footage of them just doesn't seem to exist anymore, so I kinda had to focus more on the mode itself this time and be more mechanical with it. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider liking or subscribing to the channel, or if you want to go that one step further, dropping me some support on Patreon, which I always appreciate. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.